So we're going to get started right away. There's a lot to cover. So my name is Brittany Hernandez, and I will be your host for this Lightning Talk series. I am a lawyer and the founder of Cor Meum Law and Cor Meum LLC, both of which focus on how innovations in tech can be used to solve human problems, both within the law and beyond. I'm also a freelance pro documenter with Gig Law. Today, Documate customer service manager and pro documenter Tricia Duffin will share her thoughts on sharing the market share, how practice sharing amongst professionals will lead to exponential growth. Feel free to post your questions in the chat as you think of them, and Tricia will pick them up when she concludes. After questions, I'll do a quick wrap up, after which you're free to stay on the call for an optional 5 minutes of speed networking. We'll invite 4 people to introduce themselves for 1 minute each. I'd now like to introduce today's speaker. Tricia Duffin is a customer success manager at Documate. Documate is a no-code platform for building document automation and client-facing web applications for the law. Prior to starting at Documate, she was an administrative specialist that helped small and solo firms build document automation platforms. She also helped clients build task management and client management systems for their offices. Prior to running her own small business, she worked as a legal secretary specializing in family law. She also has a master's in theater education and has worked with various theater companies across the United States, predominantly as a stage manager. Tricia, the floor is now yours.
All right. Thank you, Brittany. It was a very lovely introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and make sure you can see all of that. I wanted to kind of just start a little bit about my theater background because it kind of is an outlier in the legal field to have a theater background in here. But I do have a BA in theater and film. I have an MA in theater education. And predominantly I've worked as a stage manager, but I've also been a director, an actor, sound designer. I've worked with various companies across the United States predominantly, and Portland, Oregon, and St. Louis, Missouri. I was about 10 points away from my equity card before I decided to go into theater education. And then in that process, I became a legal secretary and I started working for family law firms. And the second law firm I worked for was a pretty tech-oriented law firm, and they kind of got me generated into the legal tech community. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how theater background might be beneficial to your practice and also to the legal tech community in general. So when I talk about the theater, I want to talk about what we call the table read. And if, for those that aren't in the theater world, which I'm assuming is predominantly a lot of you, there are the script comes out to the actors, the designers, and the director, and then they're all able to like meet together for a table read. And this is usually your first read of the script. It's also a great way for the designers to come in and to showcase their plans, either their stage design plans, their costume design renderings. A sound designer might bring in a soundscape. And what we'll do is kind of talk about the general outline of what the director's vision is, and then it gets adapted and morphed as all the ideas kind of come together. It's an organic, wonderful time. It's my favorite time of the theater production because it really is where we kind of build everything together and create that understanding that actually executes the vision you see on the stage. So this could be a day, this could be an evening meeting, if it's just a kind of simple production. But if we're talking about something that might be a little bit more comprehensive, like a Shakespearean play, or something that might be a little bit more educational, like an Eisbin, then you might have to have a couple weeks of these table reads with dramaturgies and people that are doing research and learning about the histories and the education. And we're all bringing all that information in to help create that design, to help us work most effectively and efficiently. And so it's a great place to communicate ideas, to try out different options and visions. We can also plan and prepare of how exactly we want to execute everything. It's a place to learn and be open to different varying styles of operations. And we can actually build these big ideas into actionable items with deadlines and timelines and things that we can actually do to execute our vision. And when I started working at that law firm and the family law firm that I worked at, it was a very small boutique law firm. It was about three attorneys and me. And I started as legal secretary and office manager, but I quickly became kind of their software integrator. He was a kind of tech genius guy who wanted to like have a paperless office and everything tech integrated. But I found that a lot of the work that I was doing, trying to build all these different types of software to fit our needs, was taking away from me being able to do my actual job, him taking away from his actual job. And so we started thinking about how can we make this more effective for us to find what technologies work. So we started building our own legal tech community. And what that looked like is meetups. We had happy hours that we'd host in our actual office where we would meet with our actual competitors. We wanted to meet with other family law attorneys who are also tech oriented to see what's working, what's not working, how are you filling roadblocks and gaps, and how are you, creating awesome genius products. And so what we did is brought these people together to learn from each other. And when we did that, we realized that we weren't jockeying for space. We were actually building a community to understand our needs better. So it's a place for us to share our ideas, discuss options, try various aspects of tech. I would find myself trying out one platform and then somebody else would be like, oh, I tried this other platform, and we could compare notes, what works, what doesn't. It's a place to share like actionable items that work, but also just to learn how all this legal tech can benefit all of us. And so I want to kind of incorporate that theatrical building of the world. Sorry. There we go. Move my slide. There we go. About how theater can teach us as legal tech entrepreneurs, right? So honestly, working as a group in the legal tech community is much like when we're working in a group in a theater, right? It takes a village to build a lot of these action items. And also when you're talking about legal tech, there's so many different options out there. So having a good base of knowledge from different people can help you grow your knowledge base. We also can prioritize our vision. Now, your vision may be, I want more clients. Your vision may be, I want to provide more access to justice. Your vision may be, I want to make more money. It doesn't matter. We can prioritize the vision that you have by finding a group of community that has actionable items that you are also seeking. And so you can find ways to provide more access to justice, which is one of our Documate priority visions, is to provide that kind of accessibility. It could be something of just like being able to reach more people in your region and your state and your community. But it really is about building those connections as well. So in the theatrical world, when we are doing all these things and we're working together, you're building these connections with various ideas. You're meeting designers that work with all different types of people, actors that have worked in all different types of methods, and you're bringing all that knowledge together. So in just the same way, when you're building these connections and you're building this legal community, this legal tech community, and you might be a family law legal tech community, you might realize when people get a divorce, guess what they also need? To update their wills. So what kind of connections are we building with estate planning attorneys? And what are we doing to bridge technology-wise with these other communities? But if you have this kind of legal tech community, then you're able to actually connect those and build those connections much easier, much quicker. But I don't want you to feel like this is a homogenized idea, that once you get into this legal tech community, you're giving up so much of yourself and you're giving up of so much of the things that you've built and created. You still have you to be you, but you're also just sharing with other people so you can exponentially grow your contacts, your profits, and your customer base. And so I know there are a lot of things with legal tech that people have a lot of fear about, especially as they're building more and more legal tech opportunities. I want to kind of give you a little relief on what the market actually looks like. So right now, 80% of the legal needs of the poor are unmet. That's 80% of the market share that is untapped, unlooked at, overlooked maybe. I think that we are trying to build more connections so that they have more accessibility. And then that will gather you the more clientele, which is gathering your growth, which is gathering your money, and also just providing more access to justice. We are 36th in the world in terms of the fairness of its civil justice system. And that's just absurd. There's no reason for that. We are providing legal tech options to provide more accessibility and make the world a little bit more just, which I think is a very admirable thing. Obviously, we also are providing you with this opportunity. We know that there's this big market share, right? We know that there's a lot of people out there to share and to actually stop being competitors against, but actually being, community with. When you provide legal tech, we're getting more things done quicker, more effectively, more efficiently. And so when you're cutting things down up to 90%, you can hit more of that 80% market share because you have all of these things happening faster, happening cleaner, happening more effective. But I also know there's this big fear of like, okay, we're going to lose jobs. We're going to lose people. Is this taking the place of my associate, of my paralegal? And unfortunately, I will say it's not. It is actually a 3% growth this last year. While people are leaving work, there's been a 3% growth in legal sector jobs. So a lot of this idea of having this 3% growth means that these legal tech that's been growing over the last 5+ years is not affecting this. You actually need more people. You need more people because you're hitting more customers, because you're more productive, you're hitting more customers. You need that kind of support system as well. When we talk about how to do this, so we're talking about this like, big idea of like community building. How do I do that? What do I do? There are great resources out there, right? We need to first look at how we are actually communicating with others. I don't like to think of networking anymore. I think it should be net sharing. I really do believe that there is an idea that if we're sharing more of our selves and we're sharing more of our processes, we're sharing more of our knowledge and genius, that we will get more back, right? We can see this within the theatrical realm all the time. So I think this is a great way for you guys to think about, how do I build these communities? Instead of thinking of the Barracuda individual lawyer, legal tech is branching that ground to be like, no, we're all kind of equal here. So we're going to work together to create a bigger and larger space to encapsulate more people. So thinking about that, we want to think about like what tools, what features that work for you, what shortcuts or tips that you have utilized. Do you have the cleanest template in the block? These are all positive things, right? And you can be shared, show it, and give those positive moments and genius out to the people around you. But you can also look at where your weaknesses are. Where are your gaps? Where are the problems and the points and your processes that you're missing? And be open and vulnerable about it. Talk to people about where you're lacking. We can't be scared to talk to our competitors about where we need help, because those people may be holding the key to help us all move forward. I think that one of the great ways to make this kind of community is through just interactions. It could be in public, it could be in person, or it could be in the digital world. I want to highlight our Documate Slack. It is a great forum for communicating with other people, other documenters like you, because you're hopefully all documenters. And if you're not a documenter yet, you're going to want to be. But we are all coming together in the Slack community. If you've ever used Slack, it's a great resource for just being able to text and find and search information in a forum-based platform. And it would be great for your workspace, but there are also so many great Slack channels and Slack groups throughout it. Documate is a great one for you to get started on how to share your information. And we're going to be going to release some different channels and some different opportunities for you guys to come in and share your tips and tools and all those kind of things, so that we can bring it to more of this kind of community building, net sharing organization. You also have a lot of other forums available to you. You can create your own meetups. You can create your own groups. You can go to your state bar. There's tons of groups and state bar groups. On LinkedIn, there's a bunch of different kinds of law groups as well. And this is a great way for you to show your vulnerability, but also show your strengths, and then meet in the middle and find ways to build together. So this is all leading me to the best part of this news, right? So we're all getting there. I'm going to get a drink of water real quick. All right. Okay. So Documate is unveiling a new feature, and you guys all get to get a sneak peek, and you can go ahead and go to it and look at it right after this, or, after I'm done speaking and we get all of our stuff done. You can go visit. It'll be great. We are now introducing the Documate Marketplace. What I like to call the future of sharing. Now, that's not trademarked or anything. That's just Tricia talking. We have not made that the official logo of Documate Marketplace. But it is the future for me of sharing all these different apps. Your apps are your workflows and templates that are living on your dashboard. You might have an amazing app that you would like to share with others. You might need an app that you didn't realize you even needed that could be in this marketplace. If you go to our main website, you'll see marketplace in the heading. You can go down from there. You can search by legal field. You can search by author. You can search by region, if it's a state or a country, or by a person. If you know a certain firm, you like their templates, you like their style, great. It's a great way to also download and get their apps in order to see how other people build. One of my favorite things about Documate is there are 5 ways to get to every street. So like you're able to go through all these different ways to get the same processes done. How do other people build their apps? Maybe you can get a great idea. Maybe something can be then translated into your app. So there's a lot of ways that we can create this marketplace in order to provide all that kind of net sharing, awesome connectivity. It's not just about gaining your, other people's wisdom and genius, not about just giving your own genius, but it's also a great way to make passive income. So if you have a complex app that you utilize on a daily that you absolutely adore and love, this would be a great way for you to then sell on our marketplace. And then that would be a passive income as people utilize your app. It's a great platform. I'm really excited. I hope you guys are excited about it too. But I definitely think it just kind of brings together this whole idea of what we can do together versus individuals. And so at that point, I'm a little bit early because I talk pretty fast. So I apologize on that. But I would like to open this up to any kind of questions or anything that you have for that. Okay, let's see.
I have a question. Can I ask the question? Can I?
Of course.
Okay. What about if I have an idea for an app or something like that? I work at a big firm. I share all of my ideas with them. Because they're so big, there's just no like appetite, I guess, for it. But my ideas, I feel like, are really good. They love my ideas. There's just they have too many projects going on.
Yes.
So what do I do? I have something that I think, because I'm in civil litigation. I've been a legal secretary for 15 years. So I'm really, really in tune with litigation. I love litigation. I love being a legal assistant. I'm very passionate about it. But what would I do? What do you suggest I do to get this started?
Well, we do actually are providing a different, like kind of like the wish list idea. We will have a site there, and I think it's already up. If somebody has that, I'm not sure, that you can, submit different things that are potential automation projects.
Okay.
Now, where that gets shared or how that gets processed out, I'm not 100% sure yet.
Okay, thank you.
So Rosa, I just had a quick question to clarify as well. So are you saying too that you want to build the app yourself, or that you want to see it?
I would love to collaborate with somebody, with any of you, really, to bring this to life, to bring this to fruition. Awesome. I think and I've shared it with so many people. I'm very fortunate. I have so many attorneys in my life who really support me in my ideas, and they really think it's a genius idea. And I would just love to work with anybody who's willing to listen. Okay,
great. Yeah. Go ahead, Tricia.
Yeah, and Dorna just posted in the chat the wish list for submitting workflows. But I also think this would be a great way on the Slack being like, hey, I submitted this wish list. I'd like to see what we can do. And maybe that'd be a great way to also communicate, be like, does anybody want to help me build this? Or, maybe talk to documenters and see if there's some way that you guys can negotiate some kind of deal to figure out how you can make that a workable workflow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm totally new to this community. I found Documate on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I think it's such an amazing just way to connect, especially in the legal field, this very specific, field. And yeah, I think this is great. Thank you guys. And Tricia, you're amazing. I took so many notes. I am just so impressed by you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much.
And I love your background. I love the connection that you made with theater and the legal field, because I see it. It's like we are putting on a production. I go to trial. In fact, I'm going to trial in October in Los Angeles Superior Court, and I'm setting up the war room, and it's a whole production. Like, I'm dealing with vendors, I'm dealing with the hotel. There's so many bits and pieces there. I can see the connection with theater and
it's a surprisingly amount of overlap.
Lots of it. Lots that we can learn from the theater world. Absolutely.
Thank you, Rosa. That was amazing. Do you have any other questions? We have a few more minutes that we can do questions. It looks like David has a question, and then we have about 3-4 more minutes for questions.
Hey, David. So does Documate Marketplace also work internationally? And that's one question. And the other, so pretty much in the marketplace, anybody can upload an app or idea or a document, and you can just download it and just kind of start getting like a community going on what's available?
Yeah, so the marketplace on the site there, you'll be able to see all the different apps that are available, and they'll either be available free or they'll be available for a certain cost. You'll see down there that there are options. We actually have a couple apps that are already in Swedish that already built out there. There's also a location area to help you with different aspects. I will say once you request one of these workflows, we'll be able to download them to your dashboard that you have on Documate, and then you'll be able to utilize it from there. You'll also be able to edit and change that to maybe add your own logos, your own language, things like that that you would like to make to customize it for you, including all the different customizations that you could do with Documate. You'll also be able to then add that manipulate the templates if you needed to, but at least we'll give you a base to grow from. And from that end, we do have a bunch of languages that are available that you can then translate your workflow from.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just kind of confused on how the marketplace works pretty much. I mean, I guess I need to use it.
Yeah, are you a current Documator?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a way that if you request it, all you're doing is requesting that app, which is just a workflow and some templates, right, that are connected together. And then it will be on your dashboard with all your different workflows. And from there, it's yours. And you can manipulate it and use it as you'd like. You could provide that as a way for, gathering that other, instances for people. That way you can kind of utilize some of the different apps in a different way. Then when if you're wanting to build new apps or create new things or sell your apps, you just reach out to us and then we'd be able to put them in our marketplace.
Okay. Yeah, that makes it clear. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm just going to pop in really quick and say that Brendan noted in the chat that there's going to be a form to submit applications to have your app on the marketplace. And then Dorna put in the chat as well that Documators are building in 23 different countries and 18 different languages. And so the jurisdiction and language filters will allow people to find your legal app if that's the one that they're looking for. So, and then also just wanted to note as well that Dustin, thank you for putting in the chat for Rosa that AK Lean Virtual Assistant does a lot of building for law firms and also teaches clients Documate, since you mentioned that you're like a little bit newer. So welcome to the community. We're very happy to have you here. And it is so exciting. This topic kind of came from a conversation between me and Tricia, where we were just talking about how important it is to just share our knowledge and that there's enough room for everyone. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. And in fact, I love sharing my ideas, like that's the best way. Honestly, like when I collaborate with people, it just goes, we create amazing things. And the more, at the end of the day, we can't take the knowledge with us, we have to let's just share it all, let's
give it away freely.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't want to get too philosophical, but one of the things that I always think about is that the world generally is one big group project, which I think was really well highlighted here, is that you go away, you learn this thing, you work on that. I'm going to go away and do this thing and work on that and become an expert in that. And let's share and create something together. You go be a doctor, I'll go be a lawyer, you go be this, and then we'll share that. But anyway, I was going to say, if we want to go into now, unless anyone else has some questions, we do have a tiny bit more time for questions if anyone has a burning question that they want to, especially since we have Dorna here as well. Obviously, Tricia can answer our questions based on her thing too, but to have the CEO here is a great honor. Thank you so much for being here, Dorna. But if not, we can.
I wouldn't miss this. And Tricia, that was incredible. We can all see how your theater background coming to life in all the concepts that you've been teaching us today. And it's been really fun.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Are all of you guys on LinkedIn? I'd love to just continue this conversation in some capacity. I think, Tricia, I am so impressed by you. Like, I want to just, I literally can talk about this stuff all day, really.
Yes. Well, when you get started in a Documate, if you want to set a demo up with me, we could talk all day.
I'm going to do that right now. So do I just go to the documate.com?
.org.
Okay. Okay.
And what I was going to say is that I'm going to just move us quickly over to some announcements, just so I can make sure that everyone who's here can get to know a few other things, because obviously the marketplace is the biggest announcement, which I'm super excited about as well, because I one of the things I gravitate towards is the app building sort of process and getting to monetize your ideas and the things that you spend a lot of time on. And then what I was going to say is, let me just share my screen and show you some other announcements really quick. Okay, so the first of which is there is a new global search function for the data manager, which has been amazing. I've been able to play around with pushing variables and information from one into another, and now you can kind of search globally. There's also an added webhooks function that I haven't had a chance to play with yet, but I'm very excited about. So that will help you send documents to other applications. You can also now skip the final review page. So if you don't need them to have, if you don't need a chance to kind of change your answers, you can just click a little button in the settings and that will skip that final review page. You can also restrict access to specific workflows. So you can make it to where only certain people with certain emails or et cetera can access specific workflows. So especially, for example, if you use something only for like an internal tool. And then as just mentioned, we have the marketplace. So there's a couple of different options you can port that we mentioned. So if you want a certain one ported to your account so that you can kind of see the logic, you don't just want to use the template that's on the marketplace to have the documents output at the end. You want to be able to actually have the variables in your builder account. Then just reach out to hello@documate.org. Also, you can vote. There's the wish list in the chat, the link for that. So you can recommend and vote for different ones to be built. And then also sell, if you'd like to add your own, as we mentioned, you can just reach out to Documate, let them know what you want to do and what your idea is. And then also, as Brendan mentioned, there'll be later a way to submit your application. And then also, we will be hosting these lightning talks on the last Thursday of each month. So the next one will be on Thursday, September 29th at the same time, but with a new link. So be sure to register on Eventbrite. So A2J Tech COO and Justice entrepreneur Mauricio Duarte will be discussing the topic no-code legal tech. And that's going to cover how lawyers can prototype, validate, and launch meaningful legal tech products quickly and easily using no-code tools such as Documate, but also Airtable, Software, different things like that. Actually, I learned about software through Mauricio's videos, and he also has a Udemy course on Documate that I have purchased as well. So I'm a big fan of Mauricio. He's amazing. He's a lawyer from Guatemala with an LLM from St. Thomas University in Minnesota and worked in international arbitration for 5 years before devoting himself to technology and legal innovation. So you can register for that lightning talk by going to the same Eventbrite page, or we'll also have a LinkedIn page later or event later. So that concludes the main portion of our lightning talk for today. We'll be transitioning into an optional 5 minutes of networking. So feel free to go if you need to, but we're going to stop the recording now and move into the speed networking portion. And we already have 4 people who have volunteered to introduce themselves for 1 minute each.